In this episode of Stop, Look, and Listen, we catch up with Pastor Adrianna Steward. We discuss modernizing the pulpit, her business, Anise Curls, and women's empowerment.
So welcome to this week's edition of Stop, Look, and Listen. I'm LaTroy Gardner, and we're joined this week by pastor, motivational speaker, entrepreneur, single mother, mogul in the making, the lovely Miss Adrianna Steward.
Hi, everybody.
How you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful.
You had to throw that pastor in there, Lord Jesus.
Yes, Pastor Steward. Pastor Steward.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I'm doing great though. Thank you.
Nice. Looking wonderful. Looking wonderful.
Thank you. I try,
Okay. All right. So let's start off with your journey. Like, just tell us about your beginnings and just the growth of Pastor Steward.
Absolutely. So my beginning, I mean, at the end of the day, it's been a long journey, right? And it's still continuously happening, the journey. I'm never going to get off the journey. I'm always going to be pushing forward. But I will say that I will start with me waking up in the hospital and going through some things. And I had a panic and anxiety attack. I was a janitor. This was maybe, 5-6 years ago, 7 years ago, actually. I was a janitor at a high school, and I had a panic attack, right? I had a panic attack. I was a rapper at the time, so I thought I was
a rapper.
Yeah. I was a rapper. My name was African Queen. Don't look me up because you might find me now. But my name was African Queen, and I would write raps. Like, that was my gift, was to write, to speak, to verbalize what I was feeling. So I would write raps, and I don't know, I just, like, one day I just kept thinking, and I kept having, I was depressed. I went through depression. And I went through a lot of suicidal thoughts. I never tried to kill myself, but I did have the thoughts of wanting to die. I was very depressed. And I remember just waking up in the hospital bed after having a panic anxiety attack at my job. And I was just like, Lord, if this is what it feels like to be without you in my life, and, without you center in my life, and not truly doing my calling and what you called me to do, I don't want to live like this. I don't want to be in this realm. So after that, I slowly but surely, decided to give my life back to God, because I grew up in church, so I knew who God was. I knew that, I knew the Bible. So I decided to slowly but surely give my life back to God. And I just got to the place to where I was tired of the baggage. I was tired of the unforgiveness. I was tired of the trauma that happened to me. I was tired of allowing people to tell me my worth, right? And I just decided to allow God to show me who I was. And gave my life to God, and I finally, I found a church home, and I just decided to walk out in my calling. I started to minister. I started to empower. I got my strength back in God. I opened up a business. I was a better mother. I was a better me with Christ in the center. And then I found that balance, right? It wasn't just all, super spiritual, super deep, because I truly had a relationship with Christ. Like, it wasn't just like, I go to church and I can sing and I can and preach. But no, I literally spend nights, on my knees asking God, I have unforgiveness in my heart. How do I take this away? How do I forgive that person that misused me and abused me? God, how do I get through this dark moment in my life? And it was that truly developed my relationship with God for myself. So nobody could tell me who God is. I knew who God was for myself. Yeah, you didn't have to tell me. I knew, because he picked me up off the floor when I was going through those anxiety attacks and all of those different things, the emotional trauma that I experienced as a kid and growing up and to now. So he's brought me a long way. So all credit to God in my journey. Because like I said, I did not have self-confidence. I did not think I was beautiful. I did not think that I was smart. I did not think that I was educated. I thought I was stupid. I thought I was illiterate. I thought that I felt bad about myself because no one ever told me who I was. So I didn't know. I didn't have an identity. You know, my father passed away when I was little. My mom had me at 16. You know, she was a baby, raising a baby, you know, so I didn't have that solid foundation. So I literally found it in Christ, literally. I found it in God. And like I said, I started ministering on Facebook a lot. I started different ministries within my church. And I just grew, and the gift of speaking was a gift that God gave me, right? And I used that to empower others. And I've always been that person. So I use that to empower others once I found my self-worth within myself. I couldn't empower people if I didn't know who I was. So I found who I was.
So tell us about, I guess, realizing that you hit rock bottom and then deciding that the answer was to give your life back to Christ. And then during that moment, realizing that your calling was the ministry.
Yeah, so when did I realize? I would get people, first of all, I would get prophets and people that would tell me, they'd be like, you're going to go across the world and minister the word of God and you're called. And I was just like, okay, but whatever. But I think my intentions were so pure. Like I literally just wanted to get healed. Like I was tired of hurting. Like it wasn't about me preaching. It wasn't about me, any of those things. I think that's the reason why God uses me, because I don't do it for the hype. I don't do it for anybody to look at me. I really do it because I genuinely love God. So I wanted to get healed. I think, like I said, I have a daughter. So when I just wanted to stop feeling bad, I wanted to stop, looking for things to heal me. And once I got to that place, like I said, I was in the hospital bed. And I was just tired of fighting myself. I was fighting myself by myself. I wasn't doing it with God. And that might seem cliche. People might, oh, whatever. But I think God allows us to go through the wilderness so we can find ourselves within Him. So I found myself within God in that wilderness, in that hospital bed. Like that literally is the turning point of my life. And then when I was in an organization, a church organization, I was literally writing out a church, but didn't know I was doing it. Like I literally was creating a church for now. And I just thought I was just creating a ministry for their church. And the pastor would tell me, you're creating a church, you know that, right? And I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm just doing this so, people can come and da-da-da. And I was creating the vision that God called for me, but God didn't reveal it to me at that time. I just was just like, okay, I'm just serving God. So I was writing the vision for now, and it just transpired, and here I am today. I've been pastoring for a year, and I can say that, we have an organization called Anise Curls, Women's Empowerment, where we empower each other and we empower women. And like I said, if I would have never went through that hospital bed, going through anxiety, going through panic attacks, I wouldn't be here to be able to empower other women. I wouldn't be able to speak today. So I had to go through that in order for me to understand what it feels like for God to lift me up and take me out of the trenches, because I was in it.
So did you deal with the panic attacks and anxiety strictly from becoming a born-again Christian, or did you seek professional assistance?
No, I never saw professional assistance, and I think that's the stigma with Black people. We don't go to counseling like we should. We don't go to counseling. We don't believe in taking meds, and we should. If we have a mental problem or something's not right, we need to go seek a counselor and get help, and I'm an advocate for that. So my mom, I think I went to counseling one time, but we couldn't, and I think it's too because we can't afford it. A lot of Black people can't afford counseling. They can't afford to pay a shrink couple $100 every time they come, that's a lot of money. So, you know, I think that's why, and that's why I think as a community, as a Black community, we do need to come together and try to have a support group within ourselves, within our own community, to help each other with mental illness, because that's a real thing. So I didn't get help, you know, you know, professional help. I never got professional help for that, but I did experience very bad depression as a kid. And then I started to experience the anxiety when I started to kind of go back and forth with myself, being a rapper and, you know, trying to get my life to Christ. But I was like, you know, I was just going like back and forth.
I'm still chuckling at the fact that you was a rapper.
Yeah, I mean, got no bars for you. So
I was gonna ask you if you had some Christian bars.
No,
that
I
you wanted to lay
don't rap
down
anymore. I preach, I minister. That's my rapping, because it's a gift. Rapping is literally the gift to be able to speak in a creative way.
Right.
And that's what I do. I do it through ministering. I do it through mentoring women, and that's how I translate that for the purpose of that was the thing. The reason why I was going through with the anxiety and the panic for me, because everybody's different. This is not for everybody. But for me was because I was not walking in my purpose.
Right.
That's usually the reason why. When you're not walking in your purpose and you don't know who you are, you don't have self-worth, you usually have issues with, you know, depression or different things like that. You usually are going through some other issues because of that. It's just like putting a fish on the beach. His purpose is to be in the ocean. If you put him on the beach, he's going to eventually die. So that's with us. We have to walk in our purpose. If we're not, we're spiritually going to die. And, you know, so it's not a good thing to not know what you're supposed to be doing within your life.
So, I mean, I know a lot of times women prefer not to reveal their age, but I want you to tell the Stop, Look, and Listen audience how old you are.
A woman never tells her age, honey. Okay.
Come on.
You know, I'm 18. You know, I'm saying I'm 18.
Well, I mean, kind of close, but I was wanting you to give that away for the sake of like just how mature you are and what you've accomplished, and the fact that you have your own church. Mm-hmm. I'll just say she's under 30 people. So I'll
be 29 next month.
Right.
Yeah.
So bravo for that.
Thank you.
So speaking of your church, like just tell us how you was able to get it off the ground. Was it fully supported? Did you have a lot of barriers along the way?
I did. Because of me, I ran from it. I was a Jonah. I was stuck in a well. When I was into ministry, God told me, I was in Kansas City because that's where I'm from, and I live in North Carolina now. And God told me to move. I was at a church, a religious church. I won't say the name of the denomination, but it was a very overly religious church. And they wanted to change me. They wanted me to be like them. And I pray that they don't take offense if they see this, but that was the case. And they wanted me to be someone that God did not create me to be. I'm not a cookie cutter regular pastor that you see. You know, I have a lot of balance.
No, you're not.
And but I love the Lord. Like, I literally love God. Like, I'm not a Pharisee type of person. You know, I don't judge folks, and you know, I just love God. But anyway, so they wanted me to be that Christian, and I was trying to do different stuff. And so within that moment, things changed, and I decided to move because God told me it's time for you to go, right? It's time for you to leave. You need to leave this organization because your time is up, right? You've been here long enough. I had you here for a purpose, to change some lives, and I think I believe that God used me to change life within that church, and he told me to leave. So I picked up all of my stuff, right? It took my daughter, got permission from her dad, and we left. We moved. I said, God called me to North Carolina. I have a grandfather that was a bishop, and he had a church here in Greensboro or Reedsville, North Carolina. And my aunt's a pastor as well. So I have people in ministry in North Carolina. My grandmother's here. So I ended up moving. And when I moved here, God never told me that I was going to be a pastor when I moved. He just said, move to North Carolina. I have ministry for you. So I'm thinking I'm going to be an evangelist. I'm like, okay, I'm going to preach and da-da-da-da. I get out here. My aunt hands me a church. She's like, here's a church for you. I want you to launch this. I'm like, what? No. I don't want to be a pastor. I never wanted to be a pastor. I still kind of don't want to be a pastor. Lord Jesus, it's hard, but it's something God called me to do, and I'm good at it, and it's a gift, and it's a office. So I'm honored to be a pastor, but that's not something, that I was like, I'm signing up to be a pastor when I grow up. No, that was never me. I wanted to be an evangelist, honey. I wanted to go across the world. And I didn't want to be in a church. So I moved out here. My aunt gave me a church and I ran. I was like, no. People started to come. The church started to, I was like, this is too much. So I ran and became a joiner. Went back to my old church. Knew I wasn't supposed to be there. Child, Lord, it was a mess. And I was so depressed. I said, I became that fish on the beach again. I was like, oh, Lord. So I came back. And it's crazy because the same members, we're not a big congregation. But the same members that I had, they stuck with me, and they were just like, we waited on you. God called you to us. So we're not going anywhere. So I did the full launch, maybe what was it? Last year, 2 years ago? Was it 2 years? Or last year? Last year. I did the full launch last year, actually. And we started from the ground up. We got everything, the documentation, everything down. I still have not been installed yet because of COVID-19. I wanted to wait a year to get installation service for me to officially, all of that stuff. So once this is over, we do plan on me being installed as the senior pastor of One Body Life Center. So we're excited for that. It was really just the support system of God sending members that literally believed in what God called me to do. Literally. They have, oh my God, been there through a lot, and they stayed, and they're still there, even through this COVID-19, tithing and, all of that good stuff. So when God has something for you, you don't have to do nothing. It's just, all you got to do is be obedient. Obedience is better than sacrifice. So all I did was obey God. I didn't have to work. I didn't have to force myself to be in this position. It happened. And that's how you know it's God. We don't have to force to get a title. We don't have to force stuff to work. It just collectively goes together. So that's what happened with the church.
Okay, so you just mentioned like waiting until after COVID to become installed. Let's talk about how COVID could possibly impact churches long term, because I think there's a lot of people that have sort of fell into the routine of just having church from home, just turning on their live stream on Facebook or going on the website, and they probably won't return to, physically attending church. Do you see that as an issue?
A lot of church people won't like my answer, but I think that's amazing. I think that I've been preaching this before COVID-19, and you can ask my members, that we need to have our own relationship with God, okay? We are the church, right? When you have your own relationship with God, it does not matter if the building shut down. You're going to have service in your living room, okay? So I think it's good for us to come together, yes, but I don't think that it's an issue. We have service every Saturday on the phone. We have prayer call on Friday. So, and I don't think there's an issue with that right now. I think that God has us in a season to where he wants our attention. I think he wants our attention. And I think that going to church has literally been a distraction to a lot, right? And I think I was just talking to my mentee the other day about us not going into this religion, depending on religion to be our relationship with God. Meaning we go to church, that's our relation with God. We listen to the pastor, okay, that's relation with God. But we don't have that one-on-one connection. And that's why Jesus died on the cross for our sins. So we can have that, we can go straight to the source. We don't got to go to Mary. We don't got to go to John. We don't got to go to the bishop. We go straight to Christ. And I think that's what God is trying to show us, that he wants our own relationship with him, and not a relationship with God through your church, through your pastor. Oh, I got to call the bishop so he can pray for me and lay hands on me. No, lay hands on yourself. Pray for yourself. Call on God for yourself, because when you die, your bishop ain't going to be there for you. It's going to be you and God. So I think that it's actually a good thing that we're able to, and that's if people, take the time to want to have a relationship with Christ. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, even if they go into church, if they don't want a relationship with God, even going to church is not going to help them. They can go to church if they don't want to have God for themselves, and that's not going to help. So I think that the people that truly want to believe and have a relationship with God, I think this is the time and season for us to focus on our own relationship with God right now. So I think that it's good for this season. And I don't know what the future is to hold. I think that we just have to continue to have faith in God, build our own relationship with him, like I said, and keep moving forward. It's not my place to worry about tomorrow. We shouldn't be worried. Just focus on what right now, and God will take care of the rest. God has the world in his hand. He knows what we need and what we don't need. So I think we should just depend on the Lord and move forward from there.
All right, so Adrianna, let's talk about the modernizing of the pulpit.
Mm-hmm.
Just speak on like your experiences, I guess, dealing with stereotypes and sexism and age discrimination.
Absolutely.
Within, I guess, the brother and sisterhood of the fraternity of ministers primarily.
I think, hold on one second. I think that, I was going to say you can't record this. I think that, I'm sorry. So this is what I think. You can sit down, you don't gotta. I think that, this was an issue that I had, like I said, with my old church, as far as being a woman. That was another reason why I left, because they didn't believe in women pastors. They didn't believe in women pastors. They didn't believe in women in position in ministry. They believed women were just supposed to submit to the man and be quiet. So that was something that we all, as women in ministry, face even today. It's crazy, but we still face discrimination in ministry. You would think that would be the last place, but that's the first place. I think that today's society, I think we have a lot of more women coming out being ministers. I think that we are doing different things, as far as wearing jeans and having more balance. I think the biggest issue for me is the fact that people feel as if that you have to be perfect to be in ministry. And they want to portray that you're perfect, that I'm supposed to be this perfect person, and I'm not supposed to show my flaws. And I think that's when we get into the issue of this overly religious type of situation, ministry, when we feel as if that we don't sin and we don't make mistakes. And because I'm a pastor, I can't fall. No, I fall just like you, and I'm gonna let you know about it, so you can know that I'm a human, right? And that I need Jesus. So, but yeah, the discrimination is definitely real. I felt it, but because, like I said, my relationship with God, I keep it moving, and I say, okay, you don't want me to preach at your church? That's fine. You don't want me to come to your church? I got jeans on. You don't like that? Okay. You don't like the fact that I'm a normal, I'm a normal person. People see me, they don't even know I'm a pastor until I open up my mouth and we start to really dive into a conversation. But I have that balance to where I can actually, Jesus told us I come for the lost, right? Not the unlost. I come for the lost. So we're supposed to go out there and bring them in and have balance. So that's my goal. So hopefully I answered that question.
Yeah. So tell us about, I guess, the difficulties of separating Pastor Steward from Adrianna Steward.
It's definitely no problem, Chad. I know how to separate them. But that took a while to get there, you know.
Well, maybe not just you. How about like your congregation or your friends? Like in our case, like how I can have a conversation with you, and 1 minute you're Pastor Steward, and then you switch to Adrianna, and I'm like caught off guard.
I think I think all my friends and family, they're used to it. I think that when we go places, like I had a friend, we were at a restaurant and she told the server, she a pastor, right? Because I don't know, she thought it was funny that I didn't seem like a typical pastor. But I think that, we separated quite well because I walk with integrity. You know what I'm saying? I'm not out here just doing anything. They still respect the office that I come in because of, I think, me just empowering them, uplifting them as a woman of God first, and also being their friend. And sometimes it's difficult for me to have friends because of that. And sometimes people might come in my life and they're just meant for me to minister to them and not be my friend. And I had to learn to separate the two. Okay, God, what kind of connection is this? Is this a connection for ministry? Is this a divine connection for me? Or is it somebody that is just a friend that I'm supposed to have, that's supposed to be there for me or whatever? So I had to learn that balance, and it just takes time, trial and error. But I think, I have a nice balance. So my friends and family, they know how to separate, right? Yeah. They know how to separate they two. They know when I'm in pastor mode and I'm about to speak a word and I start speaking stuff, and then they know, like you said, when I'm just Adrianna. Like, I literally, this is my life. I just love God. Like, I'm just like anybody else. I just happen to be a pastor. But, this is just what I do. It's in me.
All right. So
I answered that. I don't know if I did. I don't know.
Yeah, you did. You answered it. So let's transition to Adrianna Steward, the entrepreneur, the CEO of Anise Curls. Tell us about it.
Anise Curls in the house. Got my shirt on. Yeah, what about it? What would you like to know exactly?
How did the idea come about? Mm-hmm. I guess deciding to pursue it.
Yeah.
And just where we are now with the company.
Yeah. So I've always been an entrepreneur. I've always worked for myself. I was not a person that went to college. I didn't get a 4-year degree. I got out of high school when I had a baby, so I always had to work. I kicked the mommy mode. As soon as I turned 20, I was a mom. And I was a server for a while, and I became in management, and I just loved it. I love telling people what to do. No, I'm just playing. I don't like telling people what to do. Don't laugh.
Too late now.
No, but I just had that in me to be able to put the pieces together and to bring people together. I've always had that, and I've always wanted to do it for myself. I always looked at it like, I don't want to build somebody's vision. I want to build my own vision, and I want to pay people to help me build my vision. I've always had that. So I was an entrepreneur for about 4 years, working myself, doing little stuff, and the pandemic hit, and I was actually working on my business. I had the call center. I was doing that, and that ended up falling through. And I was just like, you know what? I've always had the vision to either it was a clothing line, it was going to be hair, it was going to be something. I was going to sell some type of product. And
forgot one.
Yeah, I couldn't say that one.
You're not going to say
that one. I had to think about it, They ain't ready for that one. But so I always, I knew that I was going to sell something. I just didn't know exactly what, and I didn't know how I was going to do it. And I got the idea from hair, because the hair industry is $1 billion business. And the crazy part about it is the consumers are Black women. Mm-hmm. And where do we go? I'm sorry, we go to
So,
The Chinese, we go to the Chinese
yeah,
store, we go here, we go there, and we give money back to other
communities.
businesses, other
Hmm.
communities instead of our own. Go ahead. You about to say something?
Yeah, I was gonna say, so how can the consumer find Anise Curls? Is it an online only business,
Yes.
or are
So
you setting up a brick and mortar shop?
yeah, so it's online. It's anisecurls.com. And like I said, so the purpose of Anise Curls is not just about hair. Like I said, Anise Curls Women Empowerment is the biggest thing because we're women, business professional women. So my goal was to sell a brand, right? And to allow people to allow people to buy this brand because it was a lifestyle, right? It's business professional women like myself who are confident in themselves, right? Who have ambition, who have self-worth, right? And that's exactly who I am. And I decided to attach that with this hair. So that's really what we do. Like I said, we do the women empowerment calls once a month. So where we have business professional women that we all collectively come together and we empower each other. So that was the biggest thing. Mine was just not selling a product, but it was actually having meaning behind what I was selling, right?
Right.
So that was the biggest thing. So anisecurls.com is where you can go to actually purchase. We have hair, we have lipstick, makeup, all kind of stuff on there. Some good stuff on there. So yeah.
Okay. So, how do you like build this coalition of female entrepreneurs?
Um, Really just empowering other women, right? So that's the reason why I started the Anise Curls Women Empowerment Group. I was
Hmm.
able to get women on social media through this COVID-19. I think we had 31 women that were on our last Zoom call. And what I do is I basically just put stuff out on social media, empowerment for the woman and for her being a queen. And on top of that, we do remind. So every day I send out an empowerment, words of affirmation to these queens every day because I want them to build their worth. I want to push them when they're down. I want to help them when they're down because we all have those times where, we can't always be superwoman all the time. So we need somebody to uplift us. So that's what we do I do that every single day. I send that out. And it's just growing. Literally, I have women on my team that work behind the scenes on putting these in events. We plan on when COVID-19 is released and is done, I plan on having a conference of just women coming together that are entrepreneurs. So, and I think, and the biggest thing is the Black woman. And, I think that as Black women, we need to come stick together and uplift each other, especially in this time that we're living in today. Because I don't
Right.
think we have enough empowerment in the minority community when it comes with ourselves. So I think we need to stick together and uplift each other. So that's what we're doing.
And I understand there's an app as well.
Yeah, so that's the Remind app. So the Remind app is, I don't have the code. What is this? 8 something. I would have to put it in I don't have my phone.
No, we can just
8
add it.
10.
Oh,
The number is 8 10 10, and then they can text Anise C, ANISEC. And then that would sign them up for daily affirmations
okay.
from me. Yeah.
All right, cool. So is there anything else you'd like to plug before I let you go?
Well, I appreciate this time. And I thank God for you coming into my life and being a great friend. And I just want to encourage every businesswoman out there to continue to move forward in her life with the vision that God has placed in her and don't give up. And I think that the best thing is to make sure that you're empowering other women. We're not competing, we're empowering each other. So that's the last thing that I want to say. And I love every single one of you queens. Because we're talking to the queens.
I mean, I'm sure there's some kings out there that need that
Yes, we thank God
extra
for
boost as
kings as
well.
well. Yes, but that's not my calling to boost up the kings right now. It's the women. The women, yes. But yes, we uplift the kings as well. Absolutely.
Right. So I'd like to say, just from like our personal friendship, just like how impressed I am with you. Like you said, you're 28 years old. You've overcome, some hiccups along the way,
Yeah.
and you come out on the other side as this strong, powerful, confident, beautiful, um, you know, leader. Like, you're a leader of people that are like 40 or 50
Yeah.
years your senior. Like,
Yeah.
that's special.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people would be intimidated,
Mhm.
taking on that responsibility.
Yeah.
And you're handling it with class. Like, we've had mature conversations. I've dealt, with people that are 10, 15 years your senior, and they're not capable of having mature conversations
Mhm.
like you. So, um, like I said, I'm a cheerleader. I'm a fan of everything you're doing. I
Thank you.
support you, and however I can lend a helping hand, I will do so.
Thank you.
And just continued blessings to Anise Curls and to you and your family.
Yay! Thank you. Yes, we did our launch August 3rd, and it's been going great. So we're just excited for it to keep going strong. So go shop at anisecurls.com. Or you can follow me on Facebook, Adrianna Anise Steward. Anise Curls is our Facebook, and Instagram is Anise_Curls.
All right. So thank you for joining us,
Thank you for
Adrianna.
having me.
And for Stop, Look, and Listen, this is LaTroy Gardner signing off. Catch us on YouTube, GOB Radio Network TV, or find us on our website, which is gobradionetwork.com.
Thank you for checking us out on YouTube. Be sure to subscribe for more great content. And don't forget to check us out on social media at GOB Radio Network.